The Ghost Army. How artists, actors, and illusionists fooled Hitler's war machine. They weren't soldiers, they carried no real weapons, and yet they helped win World War II. They moved like shadows, struck like lightning, and vanished before the enemy could fire a shot. This is not fiction. This is the real story of America's Ghost Army. An elite unit of artists, sound engineers, and illusionists who created a fake army to deceive the Nazis. And they did it so well, Hitler believed it was real. For 50 years, their mission was classified. Today, their story is finally being told. In 1944, the world was at war. Europe was on fire. Hitler's grip stretched from Paris to Warsaw. And the Allies, though powerful, faced a terrifying reality. Germany had superior positions, experienced divisions, and a spy network woven across the continent. To win the war, brute force wouldn't be enough. Victory would require misdirection, disguise, deceit. Enter the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, the Ghost Army. They were handpicked, not from the front lines, but from art schools, Hollywood backlots, and advertising agencies. Men who painted, sculpted, performed, and recorded, now recruited not to kill, but to deceive. Their orders were unlike anything seen before in military history. Fake entire armies, create illusions of divisions that didn't exist, confuse, delay, and distract the Nazis with nothing but paint, speakers, and inflatable tanks. And the terrifying part, it worked. It all began in England. Before the D-Day invasion, the Allies needed to convince Hitler that the attack would land at Pas-de-Calais, not Normandy. The Ghost Army orchestrated one of the greatest illusions in modern warfare, Operation Fortitude. Using fake radio transmissions, dummy tanks, and a fictional commander, General George S. Patton, they created the illusion of a massive army preparing to strike. Hitler bought it on June 6, 1944. While the real invasion force stormed Normandy, the German 15th Army sat idle at Calais, waiting for an attack that never came. Thousands of lives were saved, but that was only the beginning. From France to Germany, the Ghost Army would go on to stage more than 20 deception missions, each more elaborate than the last. They inflated rubber tanks by the hundreds. They installed giant speakers on jeeps to broadcast the sounds of armored columns. They painted insignias of fake divisions onto real uniforms. They crafted entire bases, complete with fake officers, fake conversations, even fake laundry hanging on fake clotheslines. In one operation near the German border, they faked the presence of 30,000 troops with only 100 men. They created night patrols that weren't real, gunfire that was just recorded, roadblocks made of canvas. And all the while, they risked everything. If captured, they couldn't claim protection under the Geneva Conventions. They weren't fighting with real weapons. To the enemy, they were spies, and spies were executed, but they kept going. Among them were young men who would become legends in art and culture. Fashion designer Bill Blass, abstract painter Ellsworth Kelly, and photographer Art Kane. Their hands shaped America's post-war culture, but before that, they shaped its fate. There's one operation that defined them, Operation Viersen, March 1945. The Allies prepared to cross the Rhine River into Germany, a dangerous move that could either end the war or lose it. The Ghost Army's mission, draw German attention away from the real crossing point. Over 8 days, they simulated 2 full divisions, sound effects by night, rubber tanks by day, false radio chatter, even fake generals in local taverns. German reconnaissance planes saw the army. German spies heard the troops. When the real Allied forces struck 10 miles away, the German defenses were out of position. The crossing was a success. The war's final phase began. And the Ghost Army? They vanished into the mist, as always. When the war ended, their service remained a secret. No medals, no parades, just silence. They were sworn to secrecy, and they kept that promise for 5 decades. But history has a strange way of surfacing. In the 1990s, the truth began to emerge. Documents were declassified, interviews were recorded, and finally the world learned of the soldiers who never fired a bullet but may have saved tens of thousands of lives. The Ghost Army's brilliance was not just in trickery, it was in imagination. They understood something rare, that war is not only fought with guns but with ideas. They used art to fight evil. They used illusion to create truth. They used deception to protect life. In a world full of destruction, they chose to create. They left no scare, only shadows. And in those shadows, they shaped history. Let this be their monument, not of stone, but of memory. A reminder that sometimes the greatest courage is not in charging forward, but in fooling the darkness long enough for the light to win. Because sometimes war is won not by strength, but by imagination.